Take two. Please, God, this is going to work. This is the bit that really gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, now I try and get that ready. Oh, it might be smoother this time. Welcome to Persona Grata and our Persona Q&A today. I'm just waiting for Abby to request. There he is. Okay, tap, bring, add. Fantastic. Okay, let me see. Getting it right. Approve. Approve. Adding. Abby,
Hello, here it is.
technological
It's
masterpiece.
working. I'm
Oh
just
my
getting
God.
on it.
Now we should just have a little chat because we're a couple of minutes early. How are
Okay,
you
so
doing? How are you
I'm
doing?
okay. I'm pretty
You're
good.
good. You're really good.
Yeah,
Okay. So we're not adding extra people. Sorry, Rebecca, but we are having questions. You guys can do your comments across the screen and ask
here we
whatever you
go.
want to ask.
Yeah,
Everybody's watching.
yeah. Just
Edith's
put it on the
watching.
computer so I can check the message.
Oh,
All good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All good, all good. So today we get a lot of similar questions, don't we? We get a lot of, hi, Joanne.
Mm.
We get a lot of similar questions and we laugh about it. And then we say, I think we should do a little bit of a description. Hi, Lisa. A little bit of description and explain a whole lot of stuff. Josie, great to see you guys. Oh, look at that. Abby, we're really famous. We've got 16 people at the start of a video.
Ooh, that was good.
It's really good. It's really good. All right. Shall we start with the quiz? We get probably more questions about the
Yeah.
quiz than anything else. Hi, Kylie. We get more questions about that. So what
Mm.
would you like to say to people about the quiz? Because they hear me commenting all the time.
Alors, for me, in my personal experience, first time that I took the quiz, even if I took it a few times at the beginning, but
Yeah.
the one way where it was the most effective, he was doing it with someone that really know me. I did it with my best friend and once with my wife,
Yes.
and they were showing me some face of me that I kind of ignore, not ignoring, but more like, really, am I like that? I'm sorry, it sounds annoying, but okay. And then I realized that I had more points on some persona that wasn't obvious straight away.
Yeah. And were
Yeah.
they on some of the swan questions? Did you find it hard to see all the swan in you at the start?
Uh, I think it was more on the lion. That was number 4.
Hi, Erin. Great to have you, darling. Okay, so that's the lion, which is your secret identity, which makes
Yes,
sense
it
that it would
does.
be hard to see that. Oh, my darling.
Yes.
So you didn't get that straight away, and you did do the quiz a few times.
I think, yeah, yeah. The lion was the one where I was like, is it number 5? Is it number 3? I wasn't sure. And there
Yeah.
was the parrot also. My parrot is number 3, but I also was like, I think I really wanted to be a lion. So at some stage I was like, I'm just gonna go full lion. And then I was like,
Oh,
I gotta accept myself. I have to see where I am.
yeah.
I'm more a joker and someone that have creativity than someone
Yes.
that have a huge dedication.
Yeah.
I'm more excited about. I think pirate stuff is more is first to my lion that are 3 and 4.
Yes.
The swan, I think the swan the first time it wasn't 20, but
Hmm.
after it became 20 because also it's
Isn't that interesting?
yes, yes.
So when you got more and more self-knowledge, Abby, when
Mm,
you understood and knew much, much more about you,
yeah,
that's when the numbers started to change.
it did. It did. At the beginning, I had my first. It was, I think, the the thing that triggered me the most is the switch with the 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I said,
great because
I
that we
needed
had
to
it.
accept.
You need to accept who we are.
Yeah,
Is it a good
yeah.
idea to do the quiz more than once? Let me tell you, Katie, sparrows have been known to do it 20 to 30 times, and they keep doing it over and over again. And the trick is here for sparrows, they're very chameleon. So
Yeah,
sparrows are brilliant at
that is
becoming
superpower. Yeah.
whoever they're around. They're really good at becoming whoever they're around. So whoever they've grown up with,
Mm,
partners, Oh, it's afternoon in Bathurst. Hi, Vanessa. Love to see all these
Hello.
familiar names. It's just brilliant. So they mold themselves to be very like people. So then how do you know which is me and which are traits that I have taken from other people? And that's why sparrows find it very difficult to know, is this me or isn't it me? And they find it very difficult to answer the questions right. And they can get completely different scores. They can get really, really high scores on all the personas. And they say,
Yeah.
well, I could be
Yeah.
all the personas. And they're not. I think that sparrows are the ones who really need a friend or a partner to sit with them and go through the questions
Exactly.
really, really carefully.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's our
If I can,
experience.
if I can say on a structure form,
Hi, Judy and Nigel.
try to do it with people that know that have saw your four, five, and six. People that know you a bit deeper than
Yeah.
on the first one.
I agree. I agree. So we're sort of dabbling a little bit today, Abby, in book 2, which will be out by
Mm,
early November. Absolutely do the
mm.
quiz with someone who knows you well enough to call you out. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, when someone says, "Oh no, I'm not
It's
like it," it's like
changing.
the
There is stuff that we don't
blindingly
realize about
obvious.
ourselves. Yeah.
We don't realize about ourselves. These questions are not lightweight. Hi, Lynn. They're not lightweight. They're quite complex. They've taken years to get there, but I could write a whole nother set of questions for all the personas, and then your scores are going to change. So I want to put in bold letters here. The quiz is a guide. It's just a starting point. It's only a guide. And we're looking to
Yeah. Yeah.
find your top 6, but don't get too hung up about the order. This is exactly what you're trying to explain to your friend, Erin. Thank you. I'm sure your wife, Kelly, is good at calling you out, Nigel, because our partners know as well. You know how I said the other
Yeah.
day, hi, Dale. We said how we think we're hiding our shadow. Hi, Sparrow Kylie. We think we're hiding our shadow, where all we're doing is hiding our light. And our shadow's really, really obvious. And we can take offense when someone says, no, you do that. You do that. Every
Mm,
persona has got, thank you, Zara. Every persona has got light traits and it's got shadow traits. You can't have the persona unless you've been deeply in the shadow traits. And you may answer the questions and say, well, I haven't been that dark. You know, I might not have given Trevor an ultimatum for 5 minutes, no, 5 years, but I still have to score that. I still have to score that on my lion questions because, you know, push me hard enough. There will be an ultimatum, get yourself together or else, no question. And that's a dark lion trait. So the quiz is a guide. We're just getting a sort of a feel for your 6. But then what we want you to do is read the book over and over again, the persona book, and read your personas, and maybe give yourself a score out of 10. I feel very strongly I've got this one. I feel very strongly I've got that. I'm only about a 7 out of 10 for that one. I'm a 2 out of 10 for that. We'll start working it out. It's just a starting place,
mm.
isn't it, Abby? Would you like to back me up on that,
It
please,
is.
darling?
It is. It's important that you make sense of the one that you have. Like you have to
Yes.
recognize yourself in it. On my experience, again, when I read like the Swan, there is an understanding even like on the child. The child is the most obvious because it is everything that I do, and in the
Yeah.
same way that I need to see that I do.
Yeah.
For me, it's obvious because I can see that I do those things. And sometimes you can
Yes.
be in the child, reading the child, and be like, no, that's not me. I'm not that. But you are actually doing
Yeah,
the child thing.
exactly.
So
Yes.
you gotta be able to look at it like you look at yourself, and you. I feel like you feel it when you read it. You feel like this is talking
I
about
think you
you.
do. I think you do when you
Mm,
read the book. I think you hear yourself saying the things that I do in the conversation. I
mm,
think you hear other people say those sort of statements. Yes, we say also suggest looking at the the kids quiz, especially
yes.
sparrows. A lot of people think that they're ravens. I'm just going to say this one last time. I'm never ever going to speak this ever again, am I? So, sparrows who are genuinely sweet, kind, playful, loving, but who, when they're patronised and talked down to, get very offended if they're treated like they're stupid or treated like a
Mm.
child. They really go off their trees and attack. And then they say, well, therefore I'm a raven.
Yeah, that sounds
Now they're
pretty Raven
not.
also, when you don't
Yeah,
really
because
know.
ravens go off, but what we do, they attack and defend themselves, saying, I am not this, I am not that. How dare you speak to me like a child? Whereas a raven goes in and is very cruel, is deliberately cruel, and exposes someone's weakness. So if I was like that with you, Abby,
Yeah.
I would call out something in you that's really dark and really fucked. And if I was very
And
annoyed
that's
with you, I would say it in front of a lot of people, but it would be very personal and you'd be shocked by how accurate it was, but also how harsh and how unnecessarily cruel it was. I don't think sparrows are cruel, and I think ravens are. I think ravens are very rare. The other thing about ravens are they want to be the guru. They want to be an evangelistic guru, have people follow them. Sparrows follow the ravens. They do not want to run their own evangelical little cult, if I may be so bold to say. I don't know if this
a
is
lot of
helpful.
responsibility.
Yeah, or they don't want the responsibility. But they were both druids in history. And so that's, I've certainly become less defensive since reading the first book, Raven Only Nine. Oh, brilliant, Nigel. Yeah, we want to get less defensive because we realise that we've all got shadows. There's no persona better than another. And we want to accept ourselves and then accept others, because when they're in child, they're in pain. They're self-rejecting. Okay, so we had some questions here, which I'm just going to go to. Let me have a look. We've
Please.
got,
I have
oh,
no
what do you
idea what
do?
the question are, so I'm ready.
I know you've got no idea, so I'm just going to fly blind. Okay,
Pirate
so
way.
we like
Sorry.
winging it, Abby. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had from people saying, I get a lot of tied scores on my quiz. Like I get 1 and 2, and then I might get a few tied. What does that mean? What do I do? Don't worry about the order of your personas exactly yet. The book I'm writing now is like a little workbook as well as all the information. And there's really accurate ways of being able to see that's definitely my number one. And see, number 3 is relationships. So I'm going to give you this tip, guys. Number 3,
Yeah.
turns out this is your style in relationships, what motivates you in relationships, and not just in your partnership, but the way you generally are with relationships, full stop. All the parts, all the numbers in the map relate something to directly an aspect of. So you might think, I'd really like to have a dog in relationships, or I'd so like to have this in relationships. Oh, I lost you, Abby. Where did you go? I'm just going to try and get him again. What happened? That doesn't work. Approve. Approve. I hope we add him. Suddenly he disappeared on me. Where is he? He's adding. Okay, he's coming. So you might be a swan in relationships, Katrina, for instance. You might be a beaver in relationships, but that's the truth. If that's the truth, you can't mould this to be something that it isn't. You cannot do that. It has to be accurate to you, but then you'll start to work on the light and the shadow with it, and that's when it's life transforming. Okay, where are you, Abby Batty? Adding, adding, adding. Where is he? Okay, I don't know whether we've got a problem here. Adding, so I guess, okay, he's adding, whether it's an internet connection from Canberra, I don't know. I'll keep going and I'm just going to hope that Abby gets there. Alrighty, so people who have tied scores, when you read and do book 2, you're going to go through the questions that I have in the workbook things, and you're going to start to get what it is. How does a sparrow deal with a swan? I'm separated from my husband and I believe he is a swan and I'm the sparrow. Communication is extremely difficult between us. Okay, I will jump into that. I'm going to try one more time here with Abby. Approve. I'll just keep doing this until we get him back. You can write a comment to me if you want, Abby, and let me know what's going on.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh,
Sorry, I don't know what happened. I have no idea. Just cut for a
okay,
bit.
so I'll be really well behaved and I won't yell at you.
Okay,
Years ago, I
thank
would have
you.
yelled at you and got really irritated, but see, I'm so
Well,
light these
with
days.
yeah, I could accept it with my dog second, but I swear I have
Yes,
no idea what just happened. Sorry
no,
for
that's
that,
right.
guys.
If it happens, I'm just going to click
Yeah,
and
just
just
keep
keep
going.
adding you in so that we come back. Abby, the
Okay.
question that we've just got is someone is a sparrow and they're separated from their swan husband, and
Hmm.
communication is extremely difficult between us. Now, you're a primary swan, so this is perfect that we have you on today.
Yeah.
I had questions about how do I treat my swan child? How do I treat my swan husband? And if they've got swan top 1 or 2 or 3, like it is strong. It comes in.
It is. It
So
is.
one of the
It
things
is.
that happens with swans in child is I'd read the book really, really carefully and I would read the always and never section. At the second last page of each persona, I've written, always do this, never do this. They're like really great tips of how to handle them. So what might a sparrow get wrong? Sparrow, you'll be looking for lots of reassurance, lots of promises of, I'm going to be there, I'm reliable, I'm there for you. And when you start to feel unsafe, you're going to start over chattering, you're going to start panicking. And the swan hates lots of conversation. In child, they don't want to talk. They're very mute, they're not shut down. So if someone's going at you like this, he is extremely defensive and unapologetic. He's never,
Yes.
Rebecca, take a seat, darling. Take a deep breath.
Welcome back, Nigel.
Yeah, yeah, see, you're popular. Rebecca, swans in the child never apologise. They feel like they have to, they're apologising for their whole existence on the planet. So they're extraordinarily prickly, they're extraordinarily defensive. Don't expect an apology. Don't ask him to step up and own his stuff. This will not work. You've got to read Swan, darling. You've got to read Swan. So don't go looking for what's not going to happen and which is going to provoke him, make him arc up, and then think, don't you tell me what to do, and be more obstructive, more oppositional defiance disorder, which is Swan. Don't trigger him. You have to drop suggestions. The kids love to see you. Are you able to do that? Let me know if that works. Now, this will kill you. You're going to feel like you're being really fake, that you're having to be really sweet and nice. But if you want that for your kids and to have less conflict with him, you've got to tiptoe on eggshells. You've got to be kind. You've got to give him space. You've got to not expect instant decisions. You've got to not tell him what to do. Do not criticise him, or he will sabotage the next time you pick up the children and you do those things. You just have to reassure and say, you are wanted, I will work with you, I know your relationship with the kids is important. And so don't look to him for protection or safety or support. You've got to learn how to become self-reliant. That's the sparrow's greatest lesson. What do you reckon, Abby?
If I see it from a child versus child perspective, there is an opposition because sparrow, like parrot, would be really talking and really, I'm not
over
going to say
talking.
noisy, but over talking, where the swan is the complete opposite. They shut down, they don't say a word because they know that if they say a word, it's going to be dramatic.
And they
And when
don't
you're
want
in
the
the dark
drama.
place, yeah,
Yeah,
and
they
they
don't
don't
want the
want to,
drama.
I suppose he could erupt in rage and just disappeared. That's like
Yeah.
classic swan thing.
Yes.
And what did I want to say more? Oh yeah, I was thinking if you don't have one like in your persona, it's probably hard to deal with when you are like a parrot or a peacock
A sparrow.
or a sparrow. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's you got to be really patient and wait for him to kind of cool down, and that's you need to know if he deserves it, and it's complicated. I'm not the therapist here. I can't say, but this is a
But
bit
you're
how I
right.
see it.
I think you said something important there. They hate it when the Rebecca gets freaked out. When the sparrow gets freaked out and winds themselves up and gets into a frenzy, that actually traumatizes the swan. And swans, remember, it's in the appendix of the book, User Guide to Humans. I really recommend you go through this over and over, but look at the appendix. It says how they arc up. And it also says their deepest fear. Why are they going to arc up? If he feels like you've ambushed him, like you've brought in something, you want an instant decision, you want reassurance, you want that now, he will instantly say no. When I ambush Abby, when we work together, and I have all these ideas, what's your instant reaction, Abby, to
No, no,
when
no.
you and I work together
Uh,
like that?
yeah, I am really repulsive to new things.
Yes.
If
Not to me,
like
just to the
I
ideas.
just any ideas that is gonna
That you,
like
we're
that is
shocked
gonna
by.
maybe that yeah, I'm gonna be defensive on it because I know we already have stuff to do, let's say.
And is
So
suspicious a word that we should use?
no, my suspicion go with it, yes. Like anything that can give me a bad idea, an idea that's gonna take us away from what I think we should do
So what
instead
your
of
plan
seeing how
is, yeah.
we can get better with this idea. Like my reflex is to firstly being
Say no.
say no, but I have to defend myself. I always gonna try to see
Eventually.
to be negative about it to see why we should do it.
Yeah. So
And
if we generalize it
most of
back
the
to this,
time,
Abby, yeah, if we
yeah.
generalize it, and you're working on this and you know you've got a swan. So, yes, Erin, you are suspicious, darling. So the swan will go instant is no,
Mm,
instant is no, instant is suspicious, pessimistic, negative. Don't mess with their plans because the swan whole thing in their unconscious is I don't want to be ambushed in life.
c'est
Like
ça,
that is the whatever the
c'est ça.
deepest fear is. So if you come in with something that's not in my plan and how I think we're going forward, you are a threat to me. And our deepest fears in the DNA of history led to death. So being in control and knowing what's going on. So you come in going, oh, you've got to come and do this. Could you do that? Could you do that? Or I can't do this. If they're caught off guard, you've got to say things really slowly with not a lot of adjectives, very calmly, no pressure. Look, this has come up. Oh, yeah, you hate changing plans. Well, there's something for you to work on. So we need to learn how to be more flexible in this one. But understanding that if you're working with an ex who's probably not going to want to know this language, it's better to learn how do I talk to them from adult? How do I not go into reactivity with them? What's the bottom line of what I need to get across? Something's
Mm.
come up on Thursday. Are you able to pick up the kids? They'd love to see you. I know it's short notice. Can you get back to me maybe later? Don't decide now. If you can't, don't worry, I'll sort it. That's how you talk to a swan. No more details. They don't want to, but I've got to do this and then this. They don't want any of the minutiae. They don't want you crying and saying, why aren't you there? All I need, you're supposed to be the father. None of that. It's just the bottom line of what you say. Would you agree, Abby?
Yes, yes. Après, I don't know if I agree to that because I'm also swan dog, and in the sentence
Yeah,
you just made, I feel like the oh, don't worry, I'm gonna do it. I can feel your energy is positive on it,
yeah.
so I'm gonna do my best to help you back. It's true
But
that
if you're
on
in
a
dark swan, it doesn't happen. And if you're in an
no,
adversarial relationship with
c'est
someone, so you're an ex-partner,
if you tell me to do, alors, with an ex-partner, it's even more defensive because I have built stuff. It's all about defense, defending what worth to be defending. So
yeah,
if I'm doing something, if I'm caring about something, I'm gonna do my best to check everything that is can come around it. I'm gonna be careful of what it is gonna bring to it, or if this new things that's coming gonna take me away from defending it. So
yeah,
there is a whole thing of trust that
yeah,
Swan are a bit paranoid about. That way we should
they
try
are.
to
And they
leave
feel
more control depending on. It's
exactly,
also depend on who you're dealing with, I think.
it does. But an ex is difficult. So can we jump into Swan Kids and what they need? Because we had requests for that information.
Yeah.
And I saw, I think it was Stacey Lee put up this fantastic or horrendous, whichever way you like to look at it, this beaver plan for parenting, where she had all these guidelines of what a child should do. If you do that, that's the consequences. And it's all typed up so the kids can see, do this, do this, do this, otherwise do this, do this. And they were level 1, 2, and 3, and the consequences got worse. Hello, Stacey, you are there. So anyway, my child took one look at that, and I thought I would have argued for Australia at the Olympics against you. Because it's all about fucking control. It's all about do this, obey, be well behaved, conform. That is, we've got to work out what we're really here about. And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
a swan child ain't going to be interested in that. Neither's a raven,
Impossible.
neither's a lion.
Impossible.
Very few
Impossible.
rules, like bare
No, no, no.
minimal about how you treat people. But it doesn't work, does it, Abby?
No, no, no.
No, no, no.
Uh,
No.
we
How would you have reacted?
if I had a partner like this, I'm just leaving.
Yeah.
That's a swan. I need to save my life. I need to. I I think something that we would hate the most, and as one is having to bring something and having to go with our protection and our caring
Yeah.
for no good reason. So when you kind of seeing that the person you are protecting is going against you,
Yep.
if in this context, we are talking. I'm still like on a relationship and not on kids.
Yeah, not on children. Yeah,
But I'm taking this example to say that we don't want to spend times on something that we that is not worth for us.
yeah, yeah. It's not what we value.
Yes, and
It's not what you
so
value.
for a kid that you give a lot of rules about what they what they should do, it's it's kind of being forced to do something that you don't want to
It
do.
is, and the swan is an outcast by nature and a
I'm
rebel by nature.
I'm
Your wife
assuming
is
that the
just.
rules are bad also, like in my
Well,
head
we
straight
would
away.
think that we will think they're bad anyway. Eden is just saying that she would love some rules, please, and she'd probably love you to follow some
Yeah,
more rules. That's
out
Abby's
of
wife.
out of the mouth of Eden, I know
Yes,
that there's gonna be cool rules. It's not
yeah.
gonna be. Well, when I hear rules, I hear like Nazi. So I'm a bit.
But you think
Ooh,
about it as a
no.
child. Think about it as a child. And you've got this chart on the fridge. You've got to do this, this, and this. If you don't, you lose this. You do this, you lose this. And it's
Encore une
like
fois,
there's
one
paragraphs.
more
There's
time.
paragraphs of it. Stacey, you've got Swan 17 as well. For fuck's sake, sweetheart, would you have liked someone to do that with
With
you?
a with a
What
with a
is
bit of
life
beaver.
about? Hey,
Why
there
not?
must be
With
beaver.
a bit
There's a
of
big
beaver in
beaver.
it. Maybe if you swan
Massive.
beaver, maybe you can survive.
Just yeah, yeah.
If
But
you
oh, but
swan
the
dog
Swan might make it.
pirates, forget it. If you
Or
swan
lion,
lion, I don't know.
go
It
away.
doesn't work
Because that's
for all
not
of them.
okay. So, um, what do we want to do when we're parenting? That's what that made me think about, Stacey. So, what is parenting? Is it about having very well behaved children who conform and obey and do this and do that? There's a saying that says security and creativity are, you can't have both, they're mutually exclusive. We need to have boundaries in for our children, and boundaries, I think, about how we treat each other, how you treat siblings and treat each other, and that there's respect there. But we've also got to have flexibility, and we've also got to have space for them to make mistakes, space for them to create, space for them to follow passions. And a lot of Swan kids don't do well in school. They hate being told what to do. He is so lazy with effort, I feel at a loss. Well, Stacey, I'll also say to you, I had a primary Swan child, Sandon. He was so lazy with effort, I did all his homework. You're not going to suddenly get him into gear. Your beaver wants to crack the whip and get him into gear. He's not interested in school curriculum. This is not what makes this kid tick. What we have to do with our children is get them involved in activities, and it might be all out of school, that they're excited about, that they're passionate about. Like they go orienteering, they go to drumming, they do mountain biking, they do karate, they do physical stuff, they join team sports, they join a band and play drums in the band. That might be what it's about. So you just get the kid through school and you keep reinforcing to the child. When he's interested in what he wants to do, that kid will do it, but they may not do it for their entire schooling life, and they are not lost because the school system is actually very out of date with them, and they are one of the majority of kids are not responding well to the school system. That's why it's breaking down. It was written for 250 years ago to set up kids to be in factories in the Industrial Revolution. It was all about that obey, conform, all that list that you had. He wants freedom. He wants to be seen. He wants to be able to find his passion a little bit, and you just get him through the basics. You may go and do craft or trade afterwards. He's not going to go, probably not going to want to go and do academic stuff. If he does, great. If he's got hourly will. But let him be who he is, because what he is perfect. And you've got to be more flexible about how you see him, and don't just assess him from the beaver. Any thoughts, Abby? How did you
I
go through
can,
school?
alors, the period, it wasn't for me.
It's not
I
for any Swan
never,
kids.
being forced to learn something that I couldn't even visualize, it, can't even understand, and I had some other thoughts that for me were more interesting. That was all this fantastic world, everything that is related to imagination. That was what
Yes,
I was
that's what you were about.
interested in. So when someone comes and say, you know, Pythagoras, you need to do mathematics, how to do that. In the history, Napoleon, everybody, I'm French, so Napoleon,
Yeah,
he just, like we say in French, he comes from an ear and he go out from the other. So
yeah.
I
That's what happens to
couldn't,
swans. They can't focus. They're not
yeah, I
interested.
needed to be passionate about that. All the
You have to
history
be
bit,
passionate.
I needed to understand what history was. And today
Yeah,
I'm able to learn about history way better because I am interested by it
Yeah.
when I go for it. That's a thing that I realized with myself. I needed to be interested in something to learn about something.
Yes, and that's the lion, particularly, and the raven. I think you've got to be interested. So Stacey's just saying that her son that we're talking about is a really cool kid. You know what? I would just be reassuring him over and over again, not with too many compliments, because swans feel pressured if they get too many compliments,
No, mais
that you're going to
sometimes,
expect that I can do it all the time and I'm going to fail. So don't overdo it. It's just, you're a really great kid. That they have some friendships, that they have a few friendships. They belong to a team, that they feel like they belong to their community, find an avenue, music, whatever. That's what you need to focus on as a parent of a swan kid. Alternative schools are often better, but just reassure them you're going to find your way, don't you worry. It'll be in your outside of
yeah.
school activities will get you there.
I'm not a professional about kids, and I didn't study kid comportment, but from what I kind of understand on different way of parenting, I feel like it's also up to your luck. You don't know what your kid is gonna be like. And the fact that our sisters and brothers are different from our parents is a proof of this. So coming with rules or coming with no rules could both work depending on the kid.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to be able to understand our kids and see which way he's dragging to be and
Yeah,
maybe adapt. I feel like it could be the best, but
that's
again, I'm
true.
not a professional. I cannot say.
That's right, Abby. I think I have 3 children and I have to parent them differently. I definitely parented them very, very
Mm,
differently. In fact, my elder two got very annoyed at how I parented my youngest because they felt he was being favoured and he was allowed to get away
yeah.
with murder. And but he just couldn't do it the other way. He had such different personas. It was impossible. And I was only interested in preserving his self-esteem. I just wanted him to have a
Mm,
sense. And now he works a 60-hour week, Stacey. Would you believe it? Yeah, it is, Lynn, exactly. My hubby's a swan. He struggled with school, always in trouble. Don't be on their back. The opposite of being on their back is, look, do what you can. I'll help you with it. But we're just going to get through this. This is not for you. There's a place for you in the world. And we'll find that they do passionate things outside of school. And honestly, they will be fine. And if they sense that you believe in them and trust them, they will be fine. My son, I always told him when he was having swan meltdowns in the classroom and wouldn't participate, from very young age. He said, but Mum, you always told me I was going to be fine. So I couldn't care. I always knew I would. Always knew I would. I would. You see, your other
that's
son
so cool.
is a beaver, our dog. So he's really conformist and happy and does the school thing. You've both got to say that you're both brilliant. Your other one is got to go. Your swan way is going to go his
He's
own
an
way,
adult dog.
but at his own time, his own
That's a good one.
style. He can take a long while, make sure he's connected to groups of people and he's loved and he feels like he participates and he gets to do physical stuff, gets to do music, gets to do team stuff. And they will like the Indigenous, like the drumming and that sort of stuff if you can kid them into that early, and that can be great. All right, we've done lots and lots of swans stuff. So when we were talking about tide, just before you ran away, we were talking about tide scores on the quiz, and I'm saying that the second book will answer that. You'll just feel intuitively. You might get a surprise and have a score that was fifth suddenly ends up second. I want you to be that flexible about the order, because once you see which aspect of your life they are ruling, they've always ruled it, they always
C'est
will.
ça. C'est ça. There is there is all. I'm gonna go in advanced subject. I don't know if I should talk about this, but there is also the
It's hard to
influence of,
resist.
yeah, the influence of the moon. Let's say that you had parents that stopped for your own grown up some part of your persona and make you feel bad
Yeah.
about it. There is a chance that when you do the quiz, they're not as big as they should be because naturally that's what
It
you
was
are, but it's
repressed in your
been digged
childhood.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
repressed in your childhood. It didn't get a chance to come out. So the order can be a bit different. That's a really good point.
Mm,
It's a really good point. Someone said, yeah, Jojo, so you're starting to learn flexibility with the personas. We had to give you a starting place. But after
bizarre.
book 2, Abby keeps saying to me, do book 2, do book 2. Have you finished it? We should have done it together. Why haven't you done it? Do it, do it, do it. He cracks the whip. And I say, I'm
Every two
doing
days.
it. Maybe to, I'm doing it. So it'll be out by November, I
Yeah.
promise. Even if I have to do 18-hour days, and I'm good at that. I can do it if I have to. So someone asked, in childhood, would your if you experienced trauma as a child, could they change personas? And this is Belinda asked this, and I think, Abby, you've just sort of started that topic by what you just said. Trauma won't change your innate. You are born with your personas. This is a really fundamental philosophy of this. We're not a blank seed when we're born. Do book 2. I am doing it. We are born with our seed, like an acorn tree is a seed that is going to become an acorn tree, not a lemon tree. You are unique. I am unique. Abby is unique. No one's going to have our childhood and our personas in our order. And we are going to grow into that. But our childhood has a massive influence in shaping those. Now, trauma will actually serve to repress the light of our personas. It will also bring out more shadow defenses. It will be like you've had your defenses put up on steroids. And you may not be able to believe in your light of your personas because you haven't had the opportunity to go there yet because you're so traumatized. There's such anxiety and pain underneath. And this is unconscious, remember. We're 98% unconscious. So that you have not had a chance to find that you've got these other ones. And what we're just discovering, Abby, is the order of the personas doesn't change when you get them right, but it might take you months or even a couple of years to get it right. So we just take our time. But once you know it, you know it. Trauma suppressed your owl and dog. I would think, I can see how it suppressed your owl, but with your dog, unless you are a really fiery person on top of that, Vanessa, it might have made you more pleasing and more avoiding conflict because you didn't want more trauma.
Oh,
It might have
I
just
can
pushed
see
us.
that. I don't know how could be your dog in this place, but me as a second dog, Swan,
Yep.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna do some dog things randomly that will be too following, too nice. And I know that
Yep.
sometimes when something made my Swan happy, let's say I achieve something or whatever, in a good mood, like something just put me in a bit in the light, my dog will be in the light and my parrot will be in the light.
Yep.
I'm gonna certainly be doing something genuinely nice for someone if something good will happen to me. But
Yes.
but I remember it's just like coming from a place where everything is dark because let's say you are not in the best place. And
Yes.
then something good happened to you, it can bring the light to other of your personality when some are getting in the light. I don't know if you see what I mean.
I do. When somewhere in the light, it can help bring it out. Lynn's just pointed out a terrific point, which is really important. Every time we're seriously traumatized, and we talked about this a little bit in Resolving Guilt and Shame last week in the last live, but when you are severely traumatized, what happens is the child fractures, the persona fractures, and it gets buried. And what happens is later on in life, all these fractures come out as shadows in our life. So we may be going along to order say you want to order something from the shop and someone delivers you something that you didn't ask for, or they overcharge you for something, and you go off your tree. You're really angry and it really triggers you, and it might even be a strong overreaction to that. What's happening in those events that happen in our daily life is that an old fracture, an old wound about people not being true to me and being dishonest to me, that I have this wound about this because it had a huge impact on the rest of my life and on my whole childhood. So anytime I see an echo of that in people treating me like they brought the wrong order, they charged me too much, I react with the pain of my childhood. And that's how we discover our fractures. When you go to therapy, we work with this a lot because we've got fractures from these trauma points, and there can be multiple trauma points. We develop caricatures in the place and spend the rest of our lives feeling displaced and empty, not real. We do. If these fractures are not dealt with and we go in and we see the original pain, the original wound, and we start to bring that part back to us, then we are all displaced and empty and sort of scattered, and we can't function properly, and we are inconsistent. But it also makes us highly reactive and in lots of shadow, like bringing out a lot of our shadow of our personas. The more integrated we are, the less our shadow comes up. I think our shadows that come out in our lives are a messenger telling us that there's a particular pain that today would like us to have a look at what it really is about, so we can stop reacting like this for the rest of our lives. And we have to go through them for the rest of our life. I've gone through hundreds. And that's what the shadows are really alerting us to, a fracture point, a pain point in our psyches. That's what this is about.
I
Were you
just
going to
wanted
say
to
something
add.
then, Abby? Yeah.
Sometimes those things, those trauma also can be seen as lesson. I don't know if it's just
Yeah.
one thing or for everyone, but sometimes it's
As
something like,
lessons, definitely.
okay, that happened to me. I'm gonna have those reflex for it to
Yeah.
never happen again.
Yes.
But it's the same energy, it's the same dark place that
We go
we
to over and
we
over
will
again.
exactly we will remember the experience of it all the time. But getting too much, giving it too much energy is making it a reason to be at some stage. It can
Yes.
really get over
We,
your life, I suppose.
it does, and that's when we stay in child a lot. And that's why I say to people, when people are in the dark and child, and really difficult with people all the time. If we're in child, we're in our defences, and we've got our persona persenses. And when you're trying
Mm,
to find your personas through this, it's very hard. But when you read the shadow of it, you can tell what it is. You can see that
mm,
I do that. Can totally relate to the fractured persona. I get so upset about people deceiving me, and when they don't do what they said they would, I get so angry. So that, Vanessa, relates to who in your childhood deceived you or didn't come through with what they said they would, because our
yeah,
parents can be in child, of course, a lot of the time as well. And what impact did that have? For you to be as angry, 90% of the pain belongs to the childhood and 10% belongs to today. When we start to
mm,
clear through these and heal these and work through that, then we just have 10% reactions to people who come to the door and bring us the wrong thing or overcharge us. We have a 10% reaction and we can navigate it as an adult. But we can't if it keeps going into that volcano of pain that we're unconscious of. So the shadows of the persona show you your arcing up ways of being. And I've always said to people, if you're triggered, you can tell when you're triggered. You can tell when you're really
mm,
distressed, angry, hurt, feeling like you've been badly treated. That's a clue that there's something going on from earlier, a fracture. It's like a broken
yeah,
leg that needs
yeah.
attention.
And if I can add the last thing to that, follow me, is a trauma can be the same for different persona. The
Yes,
thing that is important to get is
yeah,
how your persona act on the trauma. This is where we have different personality and different way
perfect.
of dealing with things, because the same energy could lead to different traits, and this is
It'll
where the
lead to
persona.
different defenses. It'll lead to
Yeah,
different reactions. But if you can
exactly.
pick that this person's a dark raven, they're a dark nightingale, they're a dark sparrow, whatever they are, or they're a cowering dog, we need to have the empathy and to realize now when we're an adult, when someone close to us we love and they're really off, they are in pain. Hi, Claire. They are in pain. An old fracture is triggered. They're in their defenses. And for us to fall into child is the absolute worst thing we could do. We've got to
Yeah.
try and come back to them later. Don't try and resolve it with a child because we're blind, deaf, and dumb.
Okay.
So, another
Can
question.
can we
Yeah,
just
would you like?
answer Nigel quickly? He said something I
Yes, go
think
for
that
it.
can be interesting. He said, "Can different persona be active at the same time?"
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
let you answer this one.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. What you'll notice if you have a look, you'll have a domino effect. I think Dale said to us in one of her questions, I've got a persona that cripples me. And then the other children in my personas back that one up. So I think Dale was talking about how her nightingale can be crippled. And then the sparrow and the dog in child compound to make the dark nightingale even worse. And even the owl particularly does that even worse. And so they're just this
Mm,
pulling away. And that's what happened, with my raven and then my lion, far out. And then my parrot doesn't obey rules. Like the shadow domino, if you have a little look, you can watch the cycle when you do your six. You can watch the cycle of what you go, I do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and this, then
mhm,
fuck off. It basically is what we do. So they do come in together. There's no
mm,
question about it. What could be a potential thing? This is what the missing animals is all about. If you want to know what you have to do to fix it, so you can have two missing animals. In this new generation, a lot of kids have only got one animal. And so they're missing two. So they've got to think of two things to bring in. They might be missing a beaver and a lion, or a beaver and a dog, whatever. But you can miss two animals, and that's double whammy. You've got lots of creative and intuitive genius with your five birds, but you don't necessarily have to have two animals. But say we
mm,
focus on the missing animals. How do I get my child domino effect out? Well, you've got to say, which is the missing animal I need the most? Is it lion? So do I need courage, passion, faith, and decisiveness? And if you bring that down to one word, if I was a brave heart, what would I do? Every moment in that critical moment. Now, your crippled children are all going to go, I'd hide, I'd retreat, I'd be ill, whatever I would do. Or for me, I'd attack, I'd be aggressive, I'd expose. I have to do dog, be patient, moderate, tolerant and sensitive. I find it hard to remember the words. I have to be a kind heart. And Abby, you have to be a steady heart, which is the beaver: focus, discipline, routine and vision. Stick to the long-term vision. And they're the hardest things for us to do, that missing animal. So Ray asked about why do we have 6 personas. The top 3 are really significant. They're obvious. The second 3 we are learning are really, really important, that we start to develop them later on in life, that they start to become in. Otherwise, we're out of balance. But the golden key is the 7th persona, which might not have been number 7 in your scores, but it's your missing animal. So really, it's the magic number is 7. And it's about, do I need to be a brave heart moment to moment? Do I need to be a kind heart moment to moment? Do I need to be a steady, consistent heart moment to moment? Now, if I'm a kind heart, all my personas go light. If you're a steady heart, what happens for you, Abby, if you're a steady heart and you bring the beaver in? Like with your diabetes.
I'm effective. I'm just, everything is just rolling and I can't get focused.
You get focused and things get done.
And I need
Amazing.
And the only way, personally, my only way to be able to bring this 7 animal is is having to do something that is bigger than me. It's having to do something that is out of the comfort zone. And this is where I feel like it's a destiny moment. What I'm here to do. Why do I have to do this? The reason, like, maybe could be why I need to survive. Even I will have to bring. It's always at this moment that I need the beaver. But it's the only way that I can bring it in.
Yes, I love that. So what you're saying is, if it's connected to a sense of my purpose, I can find my beaver. But if I haven't got a sense of purpose, I can't find my beaver because my lion's just not interested. He's got to have passion to function. Yeah. So you've got to do, guys, the way to get out of this and to get yourself moving. I feel like there's been a huge change this last week. Big shift of things. I told the story on Instagram. I don't know if I heard, you might have heard this, Abby, where I went to the child strike, climate strike. I did a video and I posted it on Facebook. And then I couldn't get it to load because the Wi-Fi wasn't good. So I tried it 4 times. And then Beaver University, that's it. Dog University, Beaver University, Lion University. You've got to go to one of the 3. Or maybe you have to go to 2 of them. But then you've got more other gifts at the top. So I posted this video and it didn't work. So I tried it again. Then I went, it's just taking a while. Then up it came, my video of the climate strike. But then something happened that was weird. And over the next 2.5 hours, it loaded by itself 25 times. And I kept getting a message, your video has loaded, your video has loaded, your story has loaded, your story. And I'm going, oh my God. And Eden texts me, Mum, what are you doing? You've just put your video up 4 times in a row. And I'm so mortified. I'm so embarrassed. And particularly as I put in, my heart is full, my tears under my eyes. I mean, I don't normally write like that. And that was the story that was going out there 25 times. So I'm sitting on the phone going, delete, 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 delete. Really getting stressed, texted, and she said, just close the app down, let's see if it works. And it did, thank God, because I had visions of waking up in the morning and having 4,000 of those stories down on my page. I just didn't know what to do. Then I thought, because everything that happens to us in life is a reflection of something that's going on here and is a message. And I think this is a message for everyone. The message is, what's the story you've been telling for a long time now? Maybe the last 5 months with Saturn retrograde, or I'd go back from December 2017. It links back to there. It changed this week, what we've been working through over that time. And those stories have to be put in the bin. There's no place for them. I had to delete all the stories. And then I had to look at what in my life do I need to delete and not tell the story anymore, because it's an anchor holding me going back. And then having deleted that, suddenly my life changed hugely yesterday in ways that I could never have foreseen. So I encourage you to do this, but we need to be able to Step into things now, throw the balls into the air and get passionate, guys. Do what you love. If you love singing, if you loved choirs, if you love dressing up, what about trying to adopt birds that you don't have to get you out of a rut? There's a thought, Abby. What about we try not just going to ours, we bring in the missing animal, and I'm a bit drawn to that peacock, or I'm a bit drawn to that swan, or I'm a bit drawn to this, that might be good for me. What if we tried to bring in a bird and an animal to help shift us out of the ruts we're in?
But they're the, we have talked about it. It's called the personal
Only a little
bridge.
bit,
You
only say a
remember?
little bit.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. But
So
it's a
the
good
idea of the
idea,
bridge.
honey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a bridge.
Me, I know my swan is having some connection with the one that I'm missing, this beaver, because we like to build. There is some common points. You're talking about that, right?
Yeah, I wasn't, but I can go there.
Ah,
So
sorry.
if we
Okay.
say if we say that swans have got and owls have got a lot of beaver, then you can know that that's going to help me get into there. If we
Mm,
said that sparrow's actually got a bit of lion in it, it's got dog, but it's also got a little bit of lion in it.
yes.
Wow, that will
Yeah.
help me get to my line.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, the bridge. That's
I think
really, really helpful.
Sparrow can do kind of everything. It's just in terms of reason to
Yeah.
doing it that has to be
Well, dog and lion,
some
I can't
impulse.
see it being beaver. I can't see it doing beaver. But anyway, the
They could
nightingales
try.
obviously got dog.
I'm
They
sure
could
they
try.
could.
They could try, but there's natural compatibilities. Someone also asked us, do we have light line tips? How do I get out of this? A lot of people without lines. You know, in the book, in the adult section, guys, that's got the tips of how do I get to be a light
Yeah.
dog. I had a client come to me this week, fabulous lady. She's a sparrow dog peacock. And she had had a really tough life and had been walked over, and she's getting herself together. For 2 weeks, I said to her, why don't you just print out elder dog? Why don't you print out? I do those questions. Did I say no, we're not loved, or we're not in love? Those sort of questions, and then just what elder dogs do. Last page, or second last page of the book. Print that out. So she printed that out. That wonderful woman, she grew a year in 2 weeks. She said, I just did elder dog. I don't do anything else. I just do elder dog all day. Anywhere I go, what would the elder dog do? That's what I do. So you might like to have a look at what would the elder this do? And it's like that. Make it a small focus and go in there and say, this is what I need now. Use your intuition. All of you guys are intuitive. The birds are all intuitive. What would it feel like would be the greatest help for me? So I might use the light line words, have them up there, but just the brave heart. For dogs who find it hard, it's about speaking up and having the courage to say and not be a servant, to say how you feel, say what you think, no matter what, because you will be in conflict when you don't speak. Where you think you avoid conflict in relationships by not speaking, you are in terrible conflict yourself when not speaking. So we've got to start getting out of our comfort zone, guys. You're not going to grow and stay in your comfort zone. The price of a meaningful life is just comfort. I feel very uncomfortable with these big steps I've made this week, but I feel really certain that it's the right way to go, and whatever happens, that's fine. But change is the order of the day. All of us are needing to bring new routines, change it up, throw things out we're not passionate about, throw things out that aren't working, that we've known are not working for a long time, and start going and trying something we never would have done before. It's a great way to go. What do you reckon, Abby?
God, for one more time. I think but I completely agree with that. And the thing is, you can also not throw yourself like this. You gotta follow what you want to do really, what makes you feel happy about doing. It doesn't have to be a passion, doesn't have to be a dream, but it has to be something that you would desire to do for yourself. Not especially having a car or having something, but just something where you could fulfilled. Yeah,
Fulfilled.
that's a good. Yeah, if I say that is because I take myself as this example. The only reason where I can bring something stronger than me, that is my missing animal, is
Yes.
by going for the real thing. I'm
Yeah.
lucky
That's
enough
when you
to
get
have
motivated.
I'm
Yeah.
lucky enough to had a dream from really young. But even today, I'm passionate by so many things that sometimes I get lost in all those passions. I'm passionate by too much things.
Yeah.
And this is
And
where it's tricky.
that's your parrot that
That's my
likes all the
parrot.
variety.
That's when I get connected to everything. And also, a real, according to my parrot, I don't achieve any of those things 100% the way that I would
Yeah,
like to achieve it.
yeah,
Just I pursue this idea of going on it, having a bit of pleasure, but not having the achievement
yeah,
done sometimes. And all of that is also due to the beaver. So I test
yeah,
my passion and I realize which one can bring some beaver in. And
yeah.
there are really few. There is not a lot at all. So that's my
That's
example again. I don't think everybody is like this, but you got to see how you can bring the missing one and for what reason.
that's such great advice. I would never have come up with that in a million years, you know. This is why I love working with Abby. I would
Thank
never have
you.
come up with that in a million years.
Thank
So
you.
if you have a look in your birds, everyone, have a look in your birds about what you love to do. You've got hobbies, you've had interests, they've got things that you like to do. Remember, the child will not lift a fingernail, let alone a finger, won't even lift a fingernail to give themselves what they want because they're waiting for someone to save them. They're waiting for that perfect parent to come and save them. But in the adult, we go out and we feed our hearts, we feed our souls with what we love, what we like to do this, we like to do that. We don't be the martyr, we don't be the virtuous martyr going without suffering, unconsciously hoping to be saved and rescued and refusing to give ourselves a life because that's self-abandonment. Joe Josie said that was brilliantly said, Abby. It
Thank you,
really
Grata.
was. I think that's the link. Go to what you're naturally interested. Does your dog want to have company? Then find a place where you like to get new friends. Do you like whatever? Go into your personas. They'll tell you what their natural interests are in the general description at the front. If you haven't tried them, you're probably going to like them if you're high in that persona. The one other thing that I think might be really good to look at was persona opposites. And I haven't really told people about this before, but there are persona opposites. So shall I just give them a little list and see
Go
whether they
ahead.
like this? Okay, but you can be a bit averse. Like when it came to the swan, I could find four that the swan was opposite. So,
No.
which
There is a
oh,
main one to
we
Swan.
know.
There is one that
Okay,
we're like, no, you know, if we
okay.
don't
So
have
which
it,
is
peacock.
which yes, it's the peacock. It's the peacock. And isn't it
For real.
interesting, everyone? Because a lot of people are swan and peacock together. And so you have these oppositions in
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
And that's when child, you are pulled in different directions all over. But when you're an adult or elder, they all come together as they're meant to. But the minute you slip into child, they fight each other. Yeah, isn't it curious? So but they also have a bridge. So the swan and the peacock's bridge is they're both very aware of how they are physically. And they want to be physically fit and they want to look their best. Swans loathe the pretentiousness and the mask and the sophistication of the peacock and the glamour and the falseness. That's how they perceive it. And the peacocks can't stand how grungy the swans are and they don't care about that stuff. Swans see through pretense with a radar. Oh, you're a swan peacock. That explains so much. And peacocks don't like how they're not interested in going out and partying because they're so introverted, swans, and they're not into
Yes.
that stuff. And they're not into a five-star lifestyle, going to New York and to the latest show and to
Yeah,
the
no.
greatest dinner and then this trip. You are on totally
The
different pages.
pretending we hate to pretend, I think.
Yeah, you hate
Like I hate to
pretense.
pretend like me, I know there is stuff that is not comment dire, a bit I
It's
abuse as a
in,
swan, but one
yeah,
of the examples I hate everything that is kind of mainstream. And I know that's because
yeah.
of my swan and I'm comfortable in that. Where
You're quite happy to stay hating it all.
yeah, because I just want to be different and I don't want to
Yeah.
look like I don't want to look like someone that have to be looked, so I integrate to
You
what
don't want to
everybody looking
conform.
like. Yeah,
You don't
no,
want to conform.
voilà.
No.
So yeah,
So Nigel, it's in book two. The inner battle is real. That's what Jung talks about, the conflict of the opposites in between. It's the whole life lesson of growing
c'est
up.
vrai,
This is
hein,
the whole
c'est
thing.
vrai, c'est vrai.
So, but we can have strong reactions as well to different ones. We can have strong, so often the swans will also have big problems with the nightingale. Because when the swan doesn't want to feel anything because they don't want to get into those vulnerable feelings inside, they see it as weak and they say, toughen up, princess, and get over it and can't
Yeah,
stand it. So, Nigel, you will have that inside of you because Nigel's
indeed.
got a strong swan and he's got a
Mm.
strong nightingale. So, his swan can be disgusted by the vulnerability and sensitivity of the nightingale. And also, the swan can loathe the sparrow being twitty talking 5,000 words to say barely a sentence worth of information and getting hysterical and crying and dramatic.
That's fun.
Oh,
Can
you
do
can't wait for
again all of them. I want to say.
yeah. You get
Yeah,
rid
we
of,
can
and
do
then
again. We can
you can
hate
hate
all the
everyone.
persona. Yeah,
We hate
a little bit of
people.
effort. Yeah.
Yes. See, swans are the ones who say, I just hate humanity. And that's so opposite to the nightingale who wants to be the humanitarian. Not always. In the adult, of course, it's different. And we
Mm.
wanted to say that in relationships, when you're an adult, they can all work. When you're an adult, they can all work. But who's an adult all the time? And who's got two people who are an adult a lot of the time? The opposites that you have are actually your lessons, and your partner is here to stretch it. So going on to a next opposite, raven and dog. Very, very different. So the raven wants to go 10,000 miles in the underground and do the deep work. Yeah, Nigel just reckons you're awesome, Abby. You just need to know this.
Thank
Um,
you.
I love
I'll do
having
my
Nigel
best.
here on Sunday mornings. He's one of our favourites.
Yeah, that's nice.
So the raven goes 10,000 miles deep, is very exposing, sets up the conflict, and will say anything, and is also about the meaning of life. Whereas the dog goes, well, the meaning of life is what am I going to have for lunch? That's what Trevor says. And what can I have to? If yes, go on, you go.
You tell me that raven is opposite to dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no. I wouldn't have put dog in the first because there is a little bit of a there is a mother connection between those.
There's a connect, but
I
there's a
would have
bridge with all of them.
uh,
What would you put it with?
you know what I would have put.
What?
I would have put
Sparrow?
owl
No, because there's
because
a link. There's a bigger bridge. There's a bigger bridge. But they can. We're not just going to do twosomes. See, this is
it's more
that I don't
dangerous.
care.
It's more
So
dangerous for a raven to deal with an owl than with a dog.
it's much more dangerous. Now there you're going. See, bloody
This
Abby,
is
he's so good. He's so good. We'll just have this little conversation about our opposites here. So I'm not going to get away with just pairs, obviously. Now the book's going to have to
okay,
take. I'm going
okay.
to have another week's worth of writing here for book 2. So ravens will react really badly with the owl, because the owl does theory, does evidence, does research, gets it from books, and the raven gets it intuitively and goes into the underground. It goes through
Mm,
processing, it goes through the psychic world, goes through experiential into these things to find life truths, which the owl measurement series might not have got up to. So they can really fight each other strongly. But there's a strong intellect. There's a strong intellectual thing. I said that owls and sparrows don't do too well together. That's what I said.
oh
Can I,
yeah.
do I hear?
Oh yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay. Yes,
Thank
true.
you.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
true. Owls and
No.
sparrows.
Completely. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. But what we're realizing by having this chat, Abby, and I always
Owls,
realize what
owls can acknowledge the knowledge of the raven. So yeah,
they
true.
can. And we talk philosophy together, and we'll talk politics, and we can talk
Yeah,
world
true.
issues, and we can
My
talk
bad.
about that stuff.
My bad. My
No.
bad.
But one's very, very emotional, very psychic, and the other one says that's rubbish, and where's your evidence, and show me what your qualifications are. Which and so owl and peacock can go off their trees. Thank you, Eden. They absolutely can, because the peacock's such a show pony, and the owl's flying under the radar and doesn't want anyone to see them. Hi, Penny. So we've got. I think I'm going to have to do how every single one of them relates to all the others. Do you know how many combinations that is? This is not
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
Beaver and parrot,
We
thank
can
you,
do
are
short
opposites.
one. We can do short
Yeah, they're
one. We
going
don't
to be
have to
short.
go
If I'm going
full.
to do all of them, it's going to be short. Beavers and parrots are opposite. Interestingly, I've got parrot in relationships 3 and beaver at home 6, but my parrot philosophically will win every time over my beaver. My parrot will say to my beaver, "Fuck
Mm.
off! I'm not doing those rules." But then I'll be a martyr working at home.
But
So
that's
if your
very
beaver's higher inside of you than your parrot, then your beaver's going to win. So how strong they are as to which
true.
one will
Yeah.
dominate. It's interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It is. It is.
That would be so useful. People are excited about this, Abby. They like the idea of this. Okay, so we're going to do lots about how they relate to each other. That will be in the second book. You
Okay.
couldn't cope with your ex-partner's owl, and he couldn't cope with your raven. And nightingale and raven, yes, for a lot of people that doesn't work unless you've got the two. So much for November deadline.
What's the
Vanessa, you watch this space. Here's my beaver coming out now, my lion. I guarantee you it'll be out before I do the tour with Con and Denham. The book will be out. Plus, I'm going to have a new podcast series as well with Jessie. that will be on all of this, and what the places, what the personas mean in the map areas. We're going to do a special series. It'll be paid, but it won't be that expensive, just to help us resource the work that we're doing. We're doing that in a few weeks. We're going to have that podcast series, and we'll be talking about, if you've got a lion at home or a lion first, what does it mean? Those sorts of things. Would you like to know all those details? Oh my God, there's so much information here. There's so much information there, isn't there, Abby?
We could stay like this all day, I suppose, talking about like
We could stay all day talking about this. But I got something new out of this, so this was good today. Let me see. Was there anything else that's really, really important? Oh, Ray said, how do we encourage others? And I would say, Ray, stop being a rescuer. Stop being a rescuer. You can see the light in other people and complement that, but the nightingale will want to rescue.
That's the
The
nightingale.
raven can want to be the guru. Yeah, the nightingale wants to do it, and and even the owl can want to problem solve and rescue and be a. You could do this, you could do that. It's unless we've been invited to do so, don't go there. You're a work machine. Oh, look at that! Now my beaver's happy.
So you have like, is it a nightingale beaver situation?
Oh, I'm not sure. She's in Wales. She's asleep. She couldn't stay awake because it was 3 a.m. It's nearly 4 a.m. Yeah. But that nightingale, she's got an owl though. She's got a nightingale and an owl. And I think she tries to rescue and work out a plan for people to fix them so that they're not in pain. But you can't go there. That's not appropriate.
My wife, as a nightingale, I can see sometimes I feel like she's carrying the weight of the world. And she feels sad because she can't save the world. I'm like, just take care of you, babe. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Come back to what you can do, and doing what you love. That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my darling. I think we've done. Yes, there are compatible matches. We did well. Yeah. This hour has gone very quickly. Have you enjoyed it? Can I have a couple of ticks? Just I'm a lion. I need lots of I need lots of compliments. I need people to do some ticks for me. And wasn't Abby fantastic today? Would you like? It's such important information. Thank you for all you do, Erin saying. Thank you, darling. Oh look, we got a few ticks. There's a few delays in it. Excellent. Would you like us to do this again? Would people like to have Q&As again? Because while I'm writing the book, to be perfectly honest, I don't actually have the energy and the time to do really huge ones, huge topics like we have been doing. So we just might do another one. Might do some more Q&As just to keep us going. Yeah, just to keep us going, because then I can just focus on the writing of the book. Yeah, another Q&A. Okay, we might do that. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah. Okay. Well, Q&A it is. Well, we might do the same again next week, Abby.
Well, why not?
Why not? Fantastic. Oh, I love these people. Okay, you can send us questions. I'll put up a post. Just put in some questions that you would like now that we've talked like this today. Thanks, Judy and Susanna. Thank you, guys. All right, my darlings. Yeah, on to book 2. This week I'm really diving in, and I'm going to try and break the back of it, and I'll let you know how I'm going next week. Please God. Have a lovely day. Lovely day. Lots of love to all of you, and both of us will see you next week. Bye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.